Hello, welcome to Snails and Fairy Dust. Today, I want to show you how to bead onto these hexagon metal frames to make these cute flower-shaped earrings, perfect for summer and spring. My 14-year-old is already begging me for a pair. I bought these frames at a store called Carrie Berry Beads in Brighton here in England, but I found them on Amazon and I'm going to link them in the description below on my Amazon store if you are looking for them yourself. Yeah, I'm doing them in a lot of different colors. Today I'm going to show you the coral ones. So I have my size 11 Miyuki Delica beads, and these are the colors I'm using. This alabaster silver lined papaya and this Duracoat opaque watermelon. And those are also linked in my Amazon store below. I'm just going to show you with a ruler this metal shape here so that you could source it wherever you want to. Technically, it's like an inch wide, but some of the listings I've seen measure them from the inside. So it'll say 22 millimeters or 25 millimeters, depending on what side of the edge they are measuring from. I do like this style because you see it's flat rather than round, the metal. So the beadwork doesn't slip as if it were round. It would slip back and forth on there. I'm also using a leverback ear wire. I'm going to use two little jump rings. These are 6 millimeter jump rings. And I have, I just want to show you that why we need two of them, because we're going to put one on the frame and then we're going to use the second one to connect to the ear wire, which gives you just a little bit of space between the beadwork and where you put it into your ear. So it's more comfortable. I have scissors. I have 6-pound weight fire line and crystal, which I always use. If you bead a lot, just get yourself a big roll of it. I have a size 12 beading needle. And I have 2 pairs of pliers, which I'm going to use to open the jump rings to attach them to the ear wire. And I think that's it. So let's get started. So to begin, I have cut about a 5 feet piece of fire line, and I'm going to take that and make a double knot onto the hexagon frame here. So just a little left over right and under, pull tight. And then you take your left side over your right side, pull it under, and pull that tight. Just a regular old double knot. Okay, and that's still going to be loose, but as we start beading, it will tighten itself up onto the frame. So our first row is going to be a double brick stitch. So we're picking up 4 beads to begin our row of double brick stitch. There are my 4 beads. And I'm going to bring my needle from the back of my work to the front. And then I'm going to take my needle and bring it back through the 4th and 3rd beads, so the second 2 beads. And then I pull that straight up. And then I'm going to come back down through the first 2 beads. And back up through the second 2 beads. Now, if you've done double brick stitch with me before, this is all old news, but I just want to make sure anyone new can follow along here. And for you seasoned professionals, there's just a couple tricky parts coming up, so you should stick around. So now we're going to pick up another 2 beads, and I'm going to slide those down. And then I'm going to bring my needle from the back to the front. And then I'm going to come back through those 2 beads. So through both of those beads. Now, I didn't realize until I was editing this video that I did miss a bead. So that is a mistake. So pretend you don't see it, because I didn't see it at the time because I couldn't see it through the camera while I was beading. So I'm sorry about that. We'll pretend it's not there. Now I'm going to pick up another 2 beads, slide those down to the frame, bring your needle from the front to the back, and then back through those 2 beads, like so. And then pull that tight. And we're going to keep adding 2 beads at a time like this along this section of the frame until we get to 8 sets of beads. With this size frame, 8 beads fit perfectly in that little notch of the hexagon. So we're going to do that again. Also, I'm really holding the beadwork between my fingers, especially till we get to sort of the 6th or 7th, because then it gets tight and you don't have to worry about that so much. But with each little set of beads, really make sure they're sitting straight. They're next to each other. It's lined up where you want it to be. You don't want it to be on over the edge of the little section of the hexagon, just on the one flat side. So I'm really adjusting that with each one. So I'm adding another 2 here. And when we get to the end, we're going to switch to single brick stitch. Okay, so we're pulling that tight. Really keep taking a look at that. If the little beads are sort of not sitting straight, get in there with your finger and just make them sit how you want them to sit. That is with delicas, they're sort of like bricks because they're straight on the one side. I'm not sure actually if you use round beads with this, if it's going to be the same pattern because they might be too big. And so I don't know if the 8 sets will work. So I do really recommend using Delica with this project because I've designed it using Delica beads and the sizes have to be so exact because we're working with these frames. So I'm adding another 2 here. And I believe that is my set of 8. So I'm just centering those, making sure they all look good. Get it where I want it to be. And then I'm going to flip my work over because I'm always working away from my working hand. So I'm flipping my work over and now this row is single brick stitch. So we just needed 2 beads and then we're going to slide our needle through the second thread bridge from the edge like so. And then we come back up through that second bead and then down through the first bead, up through the second bead again. And now for the rest of this row, we're just going to add 1 at a time. And we don't have to be so careful about our spacing and everything. It's really that first row. So we're adding 1 bead, coming straight back up through that. So that first row on each one of these sections is crucial that you pay attention to keeping the spacing tight, keeping your tension tight, making sure the beads are sitting where they need to sit. If you have any beads that are too small or too big, get rid of them because it'll throw everything off. And that's really your foundation. Okay, so I'm going to keep going 1 at a time till we get to the end of that row. Here we fast forwarded and I'm at the end of that row. Coming back up through that bead. And now I'm going to flip my work, come back across with another row of single brick stitch. In this pattern, I'm doing 3 rows of single brick stitch. And then on the 4th row of single, we're starting at a different place, which is why I want you to stick around so we can see how we work through to get that. And then the other thing to stick around for is to see how we work our way back down to the wire in order to start that second section, because that is a bit different. So I'm going to just work my way across this, doing another row of single brick stitch. So coming back up through there. And here we are at the end of that row. We're going to fast forward through another row. So that one looks good. I'm flipping my work, doing another single row here. I'm going to fast forward through that one. I hope my bright yellow nails aren't too distracting. Sometimes people complain about my nail polish color, but you know what? It is spring here in England, but it's gray outside. So I just needed a little sunshine in my life. I generally get yellow nails at this time of year just to remind me that someday flowers will bloom and it'll be pretty outside again. You got to keep hope alive, don't you? So here I am at the end of that row. And now is where we're going to have this little tricky turnaround. So I want to add 2 beads in the center. I don't want to start with the outside edge. So I'm going to work down through that second bead. So I go down through the second bead and the bead below it. And then I'm going to flip it back over and I'm going to come back up. I want my needle to exit that second bead. So I'm coming straight back up and then I'm going to add 2 beads at the top. I'm doing this because it sort of gives it a more rounded petal feel than if you were to just leave that straight edge there. But of course, if you like the straight edge, do what you want to do. These are just techniques, ideas. You don't have to follow my way exactly, but this is how I'm doing it. So I've added those last 2 beads. We're going to do it like we're normally starting a row. And I'm just going to go through this one more time, up through that second bead. And there we go. So now we want to work down to this next section, not the section with the tail, but the next clear section. So we're going to work down at a diagonal. And I want to get my needle down through that third set of double brick stitch. So here we are. And now I'm going to exit that third set. It gets tricky here when you're next to the frame. So just take your time, bend it so your needle can get through there, but don't force it because that's how we break glass beads and that's heartbreaking. So I'm coming down through that third one and then I'm bringing it back up through the one next to it, the next set of beads, so that second set. And then I'm going to go down through this first set and that's going to help us end up exactly where we want to be to start our next little petal here. Now to start this next petal, we're going to go under and we're just going to make a little knot. So I haven't come all the way under. I'm holding with my finger there. And then I'm going to bring my needle through that loop, if I could see it. And then you see it's just making a little slip knot onto the metal frame there. And then we're ready to start our second petal. Now with this pattern, I am alternating between these sort of matte colors and then a shiny color. So to start the next one, I'm doing the same technique, picking up 4 beads, coming through the back, going to come up through those second 2 beads, down through the first 2, and then up through the second 2 again. Now, the rest of this is going to be the same as the first. So I'm going to speed through it in a second. The next important thing for you to see will be when we add the finding at the end, also sort of ending the thread. There'll be that section too. But I'm going to keep all of this in here. Like I said, if someone is brand new, to be fair, this isn't the best brick stitch project to start if you're brand new. But I'm hoping that, even pretty beginner beaders can follow along with this. So we're doing that same thing we did on the first petal, coming across, doing 8 sections of those 2 at a time. You see, I'm like completely in spring mode over here with my yellow nail polish, flower earrings. Spring is my favorite time of year. And it just sometimes doesn't feel very springy here in England. To be fair, the first day of spring, it was gorgeous. We had a gorgeous day the other day, but it's been pretty miserable since then. So we finished that row. Now we're going to do that row of single brick stitch. So I'm flipping it around. I'm going to do those 3 rows of single. Let's go quickly through those. Just going to show you this one more time because I know when you're first starting out with brick stitch, that starting the row can be tricky until you really get it down. And some people do it where they don't do it this way, and then you have an exposed thread on the outside. When I see that, it drives me crazy because it's just so simple to not have the thread exposed there. So it's important that you learn how to do that the right way, that little starting of a row. So we're just going to flip through there quickly. We're at the end of that row, and then we're going to get through this next row. I'm really into these beads, especially that like alabaster papaya. It's really pretty. I did another set of these in white with an alabaster white and then a flat white, and I thought those were really pretty. I think they could be I think these could be really cute for like flower girl gifts, maybe a bit large for a flower girl or a bridesmaid, depending on what kind of wedding it is, like sort of boho thing. Um, because you could do everybody's own colors. It'd be a good bridesmaid gift for sure. You could make a color for each different person. I think they're really cute. My 14-year-old, like I said, is obsessed with them, and she's been begging me for a pair all week while she's been watching me develop the pattern. And then today, I tried on the pair that I made for her. I made her a white pair, and I thought they were so cute on me as well that I'm going to have to make myself a pair or make her a different pair. We'll have to see. Um, and then I also made a bunch that I'm sending to a shop down here in Brighton. Okay, sorry for babbling on. Here we go. I just wanted you to see how to do this workaround to get back to the bottom again. And then we're just going to fly through the rest of this. So we're coming down at a diagonal to that third set. I have made about 6 pair of these now. This is the easiest way to get down there. So just want you to see this because I did find the easiest way to get to where you need to go. So we're working all the way down and we're coming through that third set of beads in the row of double stitch, brick stitch. This is where you're going to be tricky and careful that you don't break your needle or your beads. There we go. Just take your time and you'll get the hang of it. The more you do it, the easier it'll get. So coming down through the one, up through the other, and then down through that first one again, which will leave your thread exactly where you need it to start that next section. And then to do that next section, don't forget, we're going to make a little slip knot onto the frame. So bring that around, loop that through, and tighten that up. And then you're ready for your next one. So I'm going to speed through these. Make sure as you're doing each petal, you're keeping that first row super secure. That's the most important thing. Secure, tight, and even. So here we've made it through all of the petals. I'm alternating every other one with the colors if I hadn't mentioned that before. And then I'm just going to anchor my thread now. I'm going to do that by weaving down into the beadwork. And I'm just going to sort of go back and forth, back and forth. Here, I'm going to weave around these couple little beads next to each other. Honestly, you don't need tons of securing here because the beadwork isn't getting pulled on as if when you make like a brick stitch with fringe and then your ear wire is actually attached to the beadwork. That's not the case here. So you're not going to have a lot of wear and tear on your actual beadwork. But I like to weave my ends in. It's satisfying to me. So I have woven that one in, clipped it. I'm going to do the same thing with that original tail thread. Just going to weave that guy back in and hide it. And then I could clip that one as well. See if we get in there. And then once we clip that, we will add on our hardware. The other thing I want to mention that is worth sticking around to the end of this for is I am going to use some glue here at the very end on the inside. And I just want to show you how I do that in case that is something you want to try to do. Okay, so that is finished. We're going to add on our hardware now. So I've got my first jump ring. I am taking the jump ring from two sides with the pliers, and you want to twist it open. Don't pull it apart, twist it open. Like so. And then you put in your ear wire, and then you're just going to add your second little jump ring, and then grab your pliers again. Flat nose pliers, flat nose, needle nose, whatever you want to call them. The one I'm using on the right are actually crimping pliers. They just need to be flat. You don't want to use round ones. So you twist that closed again, and then you're going to take that bottom loop and open that. Again, twisting, not pulling apart, like so. And then you are going to add that to your beadwork in between two petals. You'll get a little finicky here. Be careful your pliers don't close on your beads and crush a little glass bead, because that'd be so sad. So you twist that closed, trying to get a better angle of this. Again, it's really hard. This is one of the harder things to do on camera, because I think my eyes are of a certain age that they're having a hard time these days. Okay, so there we go. They're so cute on. You guys have no idea. I'm really excited about this design. So now I have, what am I doing here? Oh, here we go. I'm going to show you this. So they don't flip back and forth because you have the flat inside, but they will sort of slide. And I don't have a big problem with that, but somebody might. So I just want to show you a technique if you're worried about that beadwork sliding on there. I'm going to put a tiny drop of this glue. I forgot to show you the glue. It's called B7000. It's like a jeweler's glue. You can use it for adding sequins and things like that. I think we used it in a project a couple projects ago. Yeah, to make some triangle stud earrings. So just a tiny, tiny drop of this, right? And then we're going to rub it on the inside of that frame. I use my finger. You probably shouldn't. You could use like a brush or a Q-tip. Maybe don't use a Q-tip because that will leave fibers everywhere. But you could probably find something better than your finger. And if you take a look at this piece, I've already glued it prior, like the day before, and you can't see anything. Like it really dries completely clear, especially if you only use a little bit. Okay, there we have it. We are finished. These are super cute. This set is heading to a store in Brighton. I hope you'll make tons of them. Let me know and tag me, and I want to see them. Okay, bye. Thanks so much. Please subscribe. I have lots of fun new tutorials coming up. All right, bye.